Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. My name's Jack, and today we're doing a custom build. This is poorly written, but it says Batmobile, and specifically this is the 1989 Batmobile. It's originally designed by the creator Lucas, and he even left his PDF instruction file online for free to download. The link for that is in the description below if you want to build this thing for yourself. But anyways, I hope I have all the right parts. I just got the last bag this morning from BrickLink, and all of these tiny plastic bags is what's going to make up the whole build. So let's get started. So here it is, the 1989 Batmobile. I'm really liking the detailing for this particular car. It's actually not that big. Here it is next to a Batman minifigure, and it's not that big compared to what I think most people might imagine the Batmobile looking like. It's always a very, very long car that's almost longer than maybe a limousine. But when you look at it compared to the shots that we're getting of the actual Batmobile from this particular movie, remember this is Michael Keaton versus the Jack Nicholson Joker. And here you can see it's pretty close to minifig scale. I still think it might be a little bit short, but honestly not by a very large degree. I think the clearest way to see this in scale is first off, here is the 1989 Lego Batmobile compared to the 1960s Batmobile that came from the Batcave set last year. And here you can see the Lego build is a whole quarter length longer. The 1960s one is at least. And then with the picture here, which compares and actually has some of the original Batmobiles all together in real life, you can see that the 1960s one and the 89 is pretty darn close. So anyways, it's not a massive degree of difference, but I believe that the detailing that the builder had set out for in terms of actually being recognizable and just really getting this thing to look good from all angles and trying to get those nice curves to match up, I think there's a high degree of success. We've got areas of the vehicle that match up seamlessly with tile pieces and just the side of regular studded Lego bricks. There's a combination of inverted and upside down Lego pieces, as well as just slopes and wedges and cheese wedge pieces. Everything has been kind of matched up just as close as you can get at this scale. Now you may have noticed that there's a lot of parts for this vehicle. During the time-lapse build, you can kind of see there's just a bunch of weird little connections, and that made for sort of a bad build on camera. I was picking up the model a lot, and that's kind of why I was splicing in what the build guide was showing me, and that's because there wasn't a whole lot of snapping Lego pieces together, but instead delicately holding the model from special angles to make sure that the whole thing doesn't explode in your hands. Don't worry, I'm not actually knocking the model for that. That's just how custom builds usually go. And I have to say I did a little bit of modifying from the original vehicle because this thing was designed for the wheels to not actually move, and that is completely intentional. There was a little stud basically placed on the inside of each wheel well to kind of lock up the wheels, and I figured that this thing might as well be able to roll around, but that doesn't mean that this shouldn't be a display piece. Here I'm just gonna take apart some of the parts piece by piece. It's really, I mean, there are certain whole chunks of this vehicle just so easily ready to pop off. I'm trying to get the top wheel well off, and the back light just came off in a nice little chunk, and this whole piece that I just pulled off right there, that was only connected by just 2 studs. The front lights are just connected by 1 stud each. As you can see, they almost just fell off, and the side is really just attached by that 1 L piece. Now, as I try to get the roof off to get the minifigure out, the stud kind of matches up a little bit too cleanly, and I sort of accidentally just popped off the entire back section. So everything I just took off there is pretty much connected just by a single stud. Funny thing is that the roof and windshield are actually some of the most well embedded pieces into the main body of the build, which is pretty much the exact opposite style of building that you pretty much, well, get from anything from Speed Champions or just about any vehicle that Lego themselves actually designed. I kind of broke Batman in half, getting him out of there, and it says in the build that you can fit him inside with the cowl on, but I figured his cowl was just a little bit too big to actually fit him in there. Not to mention Batman's arms are sticking up in sort of an awkward angle when he's in the cockpit anyway, so for now I think maybe I'll just keep him out there. Now it might look a bit complicated, but it did take an hour and a half to get this thing together, and I've got a pretty good idea on how everything is really supposed to fit. And because these are all sort of almost modular chunks, not modular, but they fit on sort of as easily as a modular piece might, that it actually only takes a minute to reassemble what looks like about half of the entire car. If they come off with 1 single stud each, then they just all come right back on with a single stud each. There is a little bit of finicking around and placing things in just the right angle, but I really did mess around with this model a lot, trying to make sure that everything fits in just in the right spot. So once again, for clarification, yes, this thing totally does roll around, and you can handle it pretty easily. I mean, it's not wobbly, it doesn't feel delicate as long as you pick it up by the main part of the body, but at the end of the day, this is absolutely a display piece. Also, here's a pretty necessary modification. I thought just getting some fire to stick out the back of the Batmobile. It might be too large of a piece, but I don't think anybody's counting. Now, there is one modification I did make to the Batmobile, which I actually don't think looks as good. It turns out a pretty key element, a pretty key piece was left out of one of our BrickLink orders. So really, the front nose of this Batmobile should have a light cover with that little internal bar, but for the time being, I've replaced it with a round tile that just has some detailing. I think that is supposed to be a speaker. Anyways, that's gonna probably be a modification, definitely be a modification in the future. Just a couple more little things I'd like to point out. First off, here is the Batmobile next to a couple of the more recent Speed Champion cars. Each one of these vehicles is about 180 or 190 pieces, while the Batmobile rests at a comfortable 300. That's just how many more pieces it takes to get the nice, finer detailing in just the right shapes that you like. And also, just for the heck of it, here it is next to the Joker's lowrider from the Lego Batman movie set line. It is dwarfed compared to this massive car here, but something I noticed when getting that little video for the intro clip, I think we can see where the Lego Batman movie drew the inspiration to get Joker's vehicle. Sorry, just something fun I noticed. And also, if you wanted to buy this set, this is what it looks like on BrickLink right now if you wanted to order all of these same parts. So after shipping prices, this would be a little bit higher than your average Lego set, but not by a huge margin considering it is about 300 pieces still. All right, that is it for this episode, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching. Remember, if you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe, and I have left a link in the video description if you want to find the LDD file for this 1989 Batmobile. So anyways, that's it. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.